So we discussed before, I know that, but we are now again discussing this topic. I'm just giving the important points again. Okay. So first of all, Harappan. We will start with the architecture and sculpture. So architectures refer to the design, construction, building, but sculpture is three-dimensional and smaller. Architecture is the mixture of various type of material, and sculpture is the single piece. Architecture involves study of engineering, but sculpture involves the creativity and like architecture, Taj Mahal, Red Fort, and Nataraj images, Dancing Girl. Ancient India, there is Harappa, Mauryan, post-Mauryan, Gupta, and South Indian art, and Delhi and Mughal, then Indo-Gothic and Indo-Roman. So first of all, Harappa civilization was that this area was influence of the Harappan civilization in the millennium BCE, third millennium BCE, 3 BCE. Okay, so this is the Indus Valley. A marked feature ancient civilization was the vivid imagination of artistic sensitivity, sculpture, seal, pottery, jewelry, and civil planning, roads, houses. So Harappa was the present Pakistan. It's present Pakistan, Ravi, near the Ravi River. Okay, it's the Ravi River, and six granaries: lingam, yoni, figure, burley, wooden, chasing a deer, bronze, metal, red sandstone, torso. This all. Mohenjo-daro is the next. It's the citadel, Great Bath, and it's also present in Pakistan near the Indus River here. So it is cremation, burial, sculpture, beard, prized and famous bronze statue, dancing girl, Pashupati seal. This was. Dholavira is in Gujarat. Okay, it's a Dholavira here. So it's a giant water reservoir, a unique water harnessing system, and stadium, dam, embankment, and many 10 large size signs like comprising inscriptions. Now Lothal is in Gujarat also. Lothal is also in Gujarat. So here the dockyard practice of burial, cremated remains, and risk husk, fire altars, painted jar, modern day chest, terracotta, horse ship, an instrument for the measurement, burial. This all was there. Rakhi Gadi was in Haryana. So it is in Haryana, Rakhi Gadi, and it's considered the largest site of Indus Valley civilization. Granary, cemetery, drain, terracotta bricks. Ropar is also in Satluj, Punjab. So it is Ropar. Okay, and there is a dog burial with human oval pits and burial of copper X. Balathal is Kalibangan, Rajasthan. So it is Balathal, and Bengal factory, toy craft, decorated bricks, citadel. Surkotra is in Gujarat again. Surkotra. So it is first actual remains of the horse bone. Banawali is also Haryana. So top love, burley grains, lepis lazuli, very important. Okay, Alamgirpur is in UP. UP. Okay, so see, Banawali is Haryana. It's Saraswati River. Banawali in Haryana. That is in Saraswati River, like bank of Saraswati River. And Burli, okay, Alamgir was UP, and it's bank of Yamuna, and there we can found copper ceramic item. Mehergarh is in again Pakistan. Mehergarh. Okay, and this is very famous like for pottery and copper tools, and for the cotton also. Now these was the mapping of whole ancient India. What places were important. Now architecture of Harappa civilization, like this is the architecture. Okay, so it was the citadel, and there was a lower city. So see, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro reveal a remarkable sense of town planning. There was a town planning, like town was built in the rectangular grid pattern system, and the roads divided the city into number of blocks also. Three type of buildings were there: dwelling houses, public buildings, and public baths. Burnt mud bricks they were using there, and there was appraised citadel and the lower part also. It was the appraised citadel, and this is the lower part of the city. So there was administrative building, pillar building, country yards, and aristocrats was always there. Strategic air duct, raised platform also there. There was a public bath which indicate the importance of ritualistic cleaning. Granary was room surrounded by great bath excavated in Mohenjo-daro. Now there was a lower part of city, that is like a class, like working class people were living here. Okay, an advanced drainage system also represents the importance of this civilization. Now we are going to sculpture of civilization. So we found their seals. Okay, so seals was steatite and soft stone they were using in the excavation of the like chert, copper, and terracotta. These was seal made up of. Pictographic script was very important. it's pictographic. So pictographic script was there. It's bidimensional, and there was a inscription on both side, like third side well. Now use the amulets also. Amulets is like the Mesopotamia. They was influenced by the Mesopotamia and Egyptian civilization also. And this like there was amulets carried on the person, their honor, probably used for identification of mathematical images, used for educational purpose also. Swastika we found, Pashupati seal, unicorn seal. Pashupati seal was like human figure deity, and they were surrounded by animals, elephant, tiger, antelope are shown before. So it was the Pashupati seal, three horned Pashupati seal headgears were there. Bronze figure was also low Swick's technique and Sire Purdue, we can say. So bronze dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro is very famous. Bronze bull for the Kalibangan is very famous in that time. Now dancing girl was a very important figure of the Mohenjo-daro, and it is like a Tribanga style. This was a Mohenjo-daro. So here we found a dancing girl. So it was the Tribanga style. Okay, Tribanga style. So that was also very famous feature of the Indus Valley civilization. And now uh, pinching method, they were using terracotta, Gujarat and Kalibangan. Terracotta was generally used to make toys, animal figure and miniature card. Mother goddess mask of horned deity was there. Mother goddess figure is found near the Indus sites, standing female, adored necklace hanging over prominent breast. So it's she also wear a fan shaped headgear, and the figure also like crudely and lack fineness, but she was probably worshipped for the prosperity and nature, and she might also have been goddess of fertility cult. So we found pottery also, like red and black pottery in generally we found there. And wheel made wares, very like few being, like we found there glossy design figure, red background, household purpose, like miniature vessel we also found there, decorative purposes. Okay, and this, some of the pottery were performed large hole in the bottom and small hole across the sides. Now ornaments was we found there, both men and women ornaments, necklace, armlets, finger rings and girdles, earrings, anklets. Chanduhadu and Lothal is the famous for the beads factories for the beads and ornamental instrument, like an ornamental accessories. Cotton and wool was the basically, and fashion was very prominent. Beard prized also we found there. Beard prize was one of the example of figure found in the Indus Valley civilization, and it's a figure of the beard man, drab shovel with trefoil pattern. So half closed meditative state was the beard price. Okay, priced. Red sandstone was the male torso. So there was a torso of male that was made up of red sandstone. So this was all about the Indus Valley civilization in short. Now next one is the Mauryan architecture. So Mauryan architecture, if I'm discussing about, there was a palaces, pillar, stupa, cave, pottery, and sculpture. Okay, so it is the Ishwaku ruler, like Varna Jati system was in the Vedic, gain patronage in Kshatriya rulers. Sorry. So Mauryan established the power. We see the demarcation of architecture and sculpture also. So palaces was the Patliputra and Kumhara. It was the Mauryan palaces, and it's made up of wooden. Principal building material was wooden, and it was we get in Megasthenes Indica. So Ashoka Palace was in Kumhara. Okay, it's so, and there was a structure, massive structure also, a story of wooden. Now pillars, if we are talking about the pillars, if we are talking about the pillars, so pillars was during Ashoka inscription was symbol of state to commemorate battle victory. So it was the sermon as also. Pillars were Chunat sandstone, four parts, shaft, single piece of stone, monolith, and capital, and abacus was there, animal figure was there. So Loria, Nandangarh and Sarnath pillar was near Varanasi. So this was a structure was made up of the pillar. So it was the we can see Chunar sandstone, and shaft was there. This is the shaft. This is a single piece of stone monolith. So we can say this is the monolith, and there was a capital, and there was a animal figure. So it is a Loria Nandangad and Sarnath pillar of Varanasi. Now national emblem is national emblem of India in the because of Sarnath pillars. So shown the representation of direction a galloping horse, bull, elephants and lion. So horse, bull, elephant and lion was there, and Queen Maya was there, a white elephant entering for womb. So the bull depict the zodiac sign of Torana. Now Satyameva Jayate is the Mundaka Upanishad. The meaning of truth alone triumph are the inscribed below abacus Devanagari script, and wheel of the law Dharma Chakra and lion symbolize Buddha spreading Dhamma in the all direction. So it was the Dharma Chakra Pravartana. Okay, so horse, bull, elephant, and lion we can see in the emblem. Now, stupa was the burial mound, and it's we can found in Vedic periods also. Relics or ashes of the dead were kept. So there was a diagram. I'm drawing here a diagram. So this was the like dome shape structure, and there was a chhatra. It's a chhatra, and yasti. There was a yasti, and now it's harmika also, harmika, and now it's a stoop. So it's a there was a pillar shaped torana. So there is a torana, and it's a ambulatory passway. This wall is the ambulatory passway, and there was a double building. So double stairway is there, and there was a toran in the middle also and south also. So this was the torana. So this was the basic structure of stupa, and core of the stupa made up of unburnt bricks, and Medi and Torna was decorated by wooden sculpture. And Sanchi Stupa in the Madhya Pradesh is most famous for the Ashoka Stupa, and Piparawa Stupa in the Uttar Pradesh is the oldest one. Okay, now we are discussing about the now we are going to discussing about the composition. Like Ashoka pillar was the monolith, so it's a single piece of the stone, but the Achaemenian pillar was the shaft. Achaemenian pillar were made up of various pieces of sandstone. Now a location of Ashoka pillar was the independently in the royal direction. Achaemenian was the attached to the state building also. Now popular art was individual efforts like cave architecture. Cave architecture was the vihara. Vihara was the living quarter by the Jain and Buddhist monk, while early cave were decorated like this is made up of this is the cave. Okay, so this was a decorated entrance of Barabara cave we can found, and highly polished finished decorative gateways. Barabara and Nagarjuna cave in the Bihar. So Bihar is famous for the Nagarjuna and the Barabara cave, and Dashrath and a grandson of Ashok made up the Barabara and Nagarjuna. Now sculpture is we can Yakshan Yakshini in the Mauryan time, Torana, Medi, and related to the all three religious Jain, Hindu, and Buddhism, and mention the Yakshi can be the Silpadi Kalam, a Tamil text, and all the Jain Tirthankar were associated with the Yakshi. Pottery is the northern black polished ware, so northern black polished ware, northern black polished ware is the pottery, and highly lustrous finish and luxury item were there. Now post-Mauryan art is Shunga, Kanva, Kushana, and Shaka, Satvahana, Ikshvaku, Vakataka was there. So there was a sculpture region climax in the post-Mauryan periods. So Shaivites, Vaishnavite, and Shaktivism three sect were there, and rock cut cave was we found there the Chaitya and Vihara. Chaitya hall were developed during this time, and it's a quadrangular chamber with flat roof and use the prayer hall. And Karle Chaitya hall, Ajanta cave. Okay, Karli Chaitya hole is where? Karli Chaitya hole was there, and Ajanta cave was there. Now Udaygiri and Khandagiri cave in the Odisha. So they were made under the Kalinga King Kharvela 1 and 2 century in Bhubaneswar. So the cave complex have both man-made and natural cave. And there is a Udaygiri and Khandagiri cave, and Hathi Gufa inscription which is Brahmi script. So this is the start of the Mauryan architecture. Okay. So here we can Rani Gufa cave is the Udaygiri which is very famous. This is the Udaygiri Odisha. Here was the Rani Gufa, Hathi Gufa cave we found there. Jain Namokar mantra they were using in this. Now stupa were made up of torna, beautifully decorated gateway in the stupa. Stupa is the larger, more decorative in the post-Mauryan, and Shunga dynasty introduced the idea of torana also. So it's there is a Hellenistic influence on the stupa. So Hellenistic, we can say, influence were in the stupa, and Barhut stupa in the Madhya Pradesh is the Torana and the Sachi in the Madhya Pradesh. Barhut is also in the Madhya Pradesh, and Sachi is also in the Madhya Pradesh. Okay, Barhut and the Sachi in the Madhya Pradesh. We should have a clear idea about that. Now next is sculpture. Sculpture, we are talking about the Gandhar school. Gandhar school was the western part of the area. So it is Greek and Roman sculpture and Greco-Indian school of art, we can say. So local tradition was influenced by the western frontier, Peshawar and Afghanistan, and used mud stucco, bluish and grey sandstone, and Greco-Roman influence resemble that Apollo. So he was resemble that Apollo, and this is a like bluish and grey sandstone and stucco and mud made up of that. Then Mathura is here in the UP side. So it is the all three religion, Buddhism, Hindu and Jainism, and there was a Yaksha and Yakshini. Okay, and the Mathura is the symbolize the image of Hindu god, and example of Shiva, Muklinga, and Gandhara school and decorated with geometrical pattern also, surrounded by two bodhisattva, Padmapani and lotus Vajrapani. Now the Amravati school of art was in the Andhra Pradesh, bank of Krishna river, Satvahana ruler. So dynamic image of narrative art was very famous in the Tribhanga posture. Now, if we are describe all of the three arts, like Gandhara was the Greek influence, Mathura was the indigenous, Amravati indigenous. Ingredient was a blue-gray sandstone. There was spotted red sandstone and white marble in the Amravati. This was Buddhist. First was Roman influence. Second one, all three religion, and third one is Buddhist. Last is Kushana, and Amravati was Satvana. And area of development was the northwest frontier. There was a Mathura and Kankali Tila. This was the area, and there was a Krishna Godavari lower valley. And feature of Buddha was the spiritual state, fewer ornaments, yogi, half closed eyes was there. But this is the delighted mood because it's indigenous, obviously. And this is Padmasana with the different mudras also, and protuberance also. And there was a narrative arts and the Jataka tales in the Amravati. Okay, now we are going to Greek art and Roman art. This was all Mauryan was finished. Now we are going to discuss about the Greek art and Roman art. So idealistic style of Greek reflected the muscular depiction of the god, mythological figure. Marble was the main material. Roman art was the project of realism and concrete in their sculpture. There was a realism is very important, famous for the mural painting. Now various mudra of the Buddha. So it's a Buddha, okay, and he was like sitting in this posture. His first hand and second hand. So this is the Bhumi Sparsha Mudra. So right hand touching to the earth in Ashobhaya, and significance of the calling the earth witness the truth. And the second was the Buddha was sitting like this hand and this like. So it is a yoga mudra and depict the Buddha both hands laps like this, and palm of the left hand finger extended. So it's a both hand are shown touching to the tips and thus forming the mystic cycle like this. Both hand are touching to each other. It's a cycle of death and birth. Spiritual tree. Now Vitarka Mudra. Vitarka Mudra is the like this. This is a hand on like this. It's made up. Tip of the thumb index. It's a thumb index. Okay, and there is a touch of each other. Like this thumb is touching to the Anamika. So this is position shoulder left, and this is like Buddhist circle formed by the thumb that index finger maintains. So Vitarka Mudra is for the energy and teaching the discussion also. Okay, now next one is the next mudra is the Abhaya Mudra. Abhaya Mudra is the hand is like this and Buddha is like sitting like this. So hand is like this, like giving some teachings, and one hand is like this. So this is like fearlessness. Abhaya is by name, it symbolizes Abhaya. So fearlessness. Dharma Chakra Pravartan is like dancing mode. It's Dharma Chakra Pravartan. Okay, so it's a Dharma Chakra Pravartan. So it's a turning the wheel of the Dharma of law, and it's a preach the first sermon. So Deer Park of Sarnath. Okay, so it's a setting into motion the wheel of Dharma. Next is Anjali Mudra. Anjali Mudra is the Namaste, and it's a greeting devotion to the adoration. So it's a enlightenment of Anjali Mudra. Uttra Bodhi Mudra. Uttra Bodhi Mudra is that both like Anamikas touching to each other. So it's a supreme enlightenment. So symbolize the perfection of Shakyamuni Buddha. Varda Mudra. Varda Mudra is the one hand is up, one hand is the down. So it's efforts of meditative concentration and morality, generosity, and compassion, clarity. Karna Mudra is like a middle finger is touching to the thumb, so it's a warding of all the evil. Like बीच वाली उंगली जो होती है हमेशा like we are giving to the like गुंडे लोग उनको ऐसे दिखाते हैं ना, तो it is like Karna Mudra. Okay, so Karna Mudra is like warding of evils, helps remove obstacles such as sickness or negative thoughts. So my friend, one of my friend always told me that बीच वाली उंगली दिखाने का जब भी कहीं परेशान करे तो. So it's a warding of evil. All right. So next is Vajra Mudra. Vajra Mudra is the knowledge. So it's a knowledge or supreme wisdom. So it's a wisdom of knowledge is represented by the forefinger and the first of right hand protect all. It's a knowledge mudra is well better known to Korea and Japan. Now next we are going to discuss Gupta period. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the Gupta period. So Gupta is the emergence of Gupta Empire 4th century AD, golden period of Indian architecture, and it's a Buddhist architecture and temple architecture. So climax was in the temple architecture, and three principal deities was like Vishnu and Shiva and Shakti. So cave was the mural painting was very famous in the Gupta period. Ajanta and Ellora cave, and the Ajanta cave was the in the Aurangabad. There was a 29 caves. And Ajanta cave was inscribed by the Buddhist monk Vakataka king, Harishena being the prominent one. Fresco painting was the famous for the naturalism, and color were obtained from the local vegetation and mineral. Outline of the painting were red color and the absence of blue color. Buddhist was Buddha Jataka stories and developed the Hinayana phase. Remaining 24 were developed the Mahayana phase of Buddhism. Ajanta cave was found travel around the Chinese Buddhist traveler Fayan and Hensang. Mahaparinirvana of Buddha cave 26 and Naga king was cave 19. Now teaching of the painting. Painting was like it's a technique of the painting. So moist surface, color, pigment, and lasting image, and rock surface was created. Dying princess, flying apsara. Ellora cave was the Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain, all of three, and these are 5th to 11th century AD. Diversity in the term of theme was present in the, and this was the Vidarbha, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu we can found there. So cave number 10 was the Buddhist Chaitya. Vishwakarma cave was the Buddha is seated in Vishwakarma Mudra, and cave number 14 is the Ravan Ki Khai. Cave number 15 was the Dashavtar temple. 10 was the Chaitya, 14 was the Ravan Ki Khai, 15 was the Dashavtar temple, 16 was the Kailasha temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, and Ravan shaking the Mount Kailasha. Okay, and Dumar Lena cave is 29 and Rameshwara temple 21. So two famous Jain cave was the Indra Sabha and Jagannath Sabha. Now the Bagh cave was the Madhya Pradesh 6th century AD, and Junagadh cave was the in the Junagadh in the Gujarat. There was a Khapra Kodia, Baba Pyare, and Uparkot. Khapra Kodia, Baba Pyare, Uparkot. And Nasik cave was the Pandavleni, and motif and symbol was represent the Nasik. Nasik cave was in the Maharashtra. That was also system of water management system was very good in the Nasik cave. And Mandapeshwar cave is the very famous cave of Mumbai. Mandapeshwar cave, and it's a Brahminical cave and converted into the Christian cave. And there was an Nataraj, Shiva, and Ardhanarishwara in the Mandapeshwar cave. Udayagiri cave was again there was a Odisha. So there was a sculpture and Varha boar incarnation of Vishnu. One of the earliest Hindu sculpture was there, Shiva, Narsingha and Skanda. Stupa was like decline of development of stupa. So it's a like Gupta age was the decline of development of the stupa. But Damek stupa was the Sarnath and Varanasi was famous stupa. Now sculpture was the Sarnath, and it's a cream color sculptures and metal also they using their halo around the head of Buddha was inscribed. So this was the like important things we discussed in the mapping pattern. Now we are going to discuss about some like important ancient inscription of Edict like Sohgura copper plate, that is for the famine relief in the Mauryan periods. Okay, Ashoka Edict. Ashoka Edict is the Mauryan Empire. It's a 33 inscription pillar of Ashoka as well as Boulder Cave. So it's representing the first tangible evidence of Buddhism. So pillar edict, major rock edict and major rock inscription were in the Ashoka time. And social and moral perspective, specific religion practice of the philosophical dimension of Buddhism was very important in the Ashoka. So beloved servant of God. Ashoka refers himself beloved servant of the god, and identification of Devanam Priyadasi. Ashoka confirmed by the inscription of Maski also. His name was confirmed by the Maski, and he written the Magadi and the Brahmi. Lumbini pillar edict was the Lumbini, and its was inscription mention Ashoka visit to the Lumbini. So it's a Lord Buddha Ashoka exempted Lumbini from paying the tax and fixed contribution to the eight. Now Prayag Prashasti. Prayag Prashasti was the like Brahmi script of Prayag. In the Prashasti is the name given to the Allahabad pillar of Prayag, means the meeting place of something someone. So it's a Ganga Yamuna Saraswati Allahabad. Prashasti was originally engraved by Ashoka pillar of Kaushambi Allahabad. Queen edict regarding the charitable deeds of Ashoka wife Karuaki, and Mehroli's inscription pillar was in the Delhi. So it's a Qutub Minar complex. There was a Mehroli and iron pillar was there, and credit of Chandragupta with conquest of Vanga country. Kalsi inscription was in the Ashoka inscription of Kalsi. So it's near to the Yamuna river. Prakrit and Brahmi script they were using in the Kalsi. And Ashoka human approach in his internal administration was reflect policies of commitment to non-violence, restriction of war in the Kalsi. And Maski inscription was in the Karnataka. So Maski was a minor rock edict of Ashoka, and edict of Emperor Ashoka contained the name of Ashoka as the Maski only. So it was the tenets of the Buddhism, and Devanam Priyadasi was written there. And Kalinga edict was the Odisha Kalinga and the tale of witness of the 1,000-year legacy. So Kalinga war was the turning point for the Ashoka, gave ambition of the Digvijay, put also decided to take path of non-violence. Now next one is the Ehol inscription, that was also in Karnataka. It's a first capital of Chalukya. Many inscriptions were found Ehol and Meguti temple. So it was Sanskrit and it is in the Kannada script also. Ehol inscription temple of Chalukya ruler made of this. Now defeat the Harshvardhana by the Pulkeshin second. So shifting of the capital from Ehol to Badami. Now Hathi Gupa inscription was a Udayagiri and Khandaki cave of the Odisha and King Kharvela. So it's in the Brahmi script, and history of Kharvela is the conqueror of this. Now temple architecture, we do not discuss the temple architecture, so now we are going to discuss. So temple architecture is the sanctum sanctorum pillar portillo. There was a gradual progression of the flat roof temple, monolithic temple also. So first stage was the temple at the flat roof, now square shape, then shallow pillar and the low platform. So this was the square, then there was a pillar also, it's a shallow also, and there was a lower platform also. Okay, so temple number 17 of the Sanchi was the important. Second stage was the platform were higher to appraised platform, 2-story temple. Now in second stage there was a 2-story temple, an appraised platform, and there was a ambulatory pathway near to that, and this is the Parvati temple and the Nashna Kuthar. First was the Sanchi, second was the Parvati temple and Nashna Kuthar in the Madhya Pradesh. Now third stage is the Shikhara. Now there will be the Shikhara also. Okay, and this Shikhara was the Panchayatan Shaili. So Panchayatana style was the principal deity was temple in the subsidiary shrine also. So it's a ground plane of crucified shape also. So this was the Dashavtar temple of Devgad and Durga temple of Aihole. So Dashavtar temple is in the UP and Durga temple Aihole in the Karnataka. Fourth stage was the temple stage was the main shrine become the more rectangular. Now fourth stage will be the more rectangular. So this temple is the Sholapur temple, Sholapur. And fifth stage was the circular temple. The fifth is the circular, like 5G. Circular, okay, shallow rectangular. It's a Maniyar Math in the Rajgir. Fourth was the temple of Sholapur and fifth was the Maniyar Math in the Rajgir. Now style of the temple architecture are style of the temple architecture we are discussing now. Here is the first is the Nagra, Dravida, Nayaka, Vesara, Hoysala and Vijayanagara and the Palasena. So first is the sanctum and sanctorum. So see, sanctum and sanctorum is the very important thing of the temple architecture, because it's a Garbhagriha literally is a small room where the house principal deity is the in the temple. So it's a Garbhagriha where is the principal deity, and the mandapa is the entrance of the temple. So there is some mandapa is made up of that design. The large number of worshipper. Shikhara was there. This is the Shikhara, and the Vahana is the mount vehicle. Mainly deity is the place, just the sanctum sanctorum. So this was now Nagara School of Architecture. Nagara is the Panchayatan style, and it's a Ganga and Yamuna. So presence of assembly hall. Ganga Yamuna was the place goddess and river goddess. No water tank. There was no water tank. And appraised platform were there. So there was no water tank was not present there. Appraised platform were there, and pillar approach they like taken. And it's a Nagra School of Architecture. Nagra is the North India. So there was the no water tank. There was a presence of assembly hall. Panchayatan style was there. Ganga Yamuna Murti, like a sculpture was placed near to the temple. And Latina and Rekha Prasad, Pamsana and Vallabhi. Latina Rekha Prasad is the base and the wall curved inward to the point to the top, and Pamsana is the shorter in height, and Latina ones like shorter to the Latina ones and upward and a straight line. It's a straight line, but it's Latina is the inwards, and the Vallabhi is the rectangular shape. Roof rising and vaulted chamber also there. So these three difference was there. Now there was a Ratha temple also. So Ratha is the three Ratha temple, Panchayatana and Saptaratha. Navratha temple were there. And next one is like Shikhara was there, pillared approach, sanctum sanctorum, appraised platform, ambulatory passage. The Odisha temple is the lavishly decorated, and it's no use of pillar. And Odisha there was a Rekha Deul. Okay, there was a Rekha Deul, and the mandap was known as a Jagmohan. And the ground plan of main temple was square, and temple was surrounded by boundary wall or Dravidian style. So the Odisha was a lavishly decorated, and no use of pillar in porch, and Rekha Devul were there, and the mandapa were known for the Jagmohan, and this is the square. So Odisha was the square shaped temple. There was a Jagmohan also, mandap known as Jagmohan, and Rekha Devul was important and lavishly decorated, and the boundary wall was Dravidian style. And the Sun Temple of Konark was the sun entered the Garbhagriha through the sea fencing of pagoda. Jagannath Temple at the Puri, Lingaraj Temple at the Bhubaneswar. These are some temples I'm discussing now. The Khajuraho School of Architecture. So Khajuraho is in the Chandela ruler. They made up the temple. It's lavishly decorated, erotic also, and sandstone. They are using three chambers: Garbhagriha, Mandapa, Ardha Mandapa. And the temple was known for the northeast facing. Panchayatana style was there also. Shikhara in the Rekha Prasad and mountain range, and relatively high platform. And Kandariya Mahadev temple, Lakshman temple of Khajuraho. This is famous in MP. Now next is the Solanki school. Solanki school is the Maru Gujar temple divided to the carving. Garbhagriha has connected to the mandapa, and Partiko have decorative gateway is the Torana, and presence of a step tank. So there was a step tank present, Bawdi types of tank like Rani Ki Vav, but has the step tank. And small temple, wooden carving, variety of material, east fencing. So Modhera Sun Temple, Sun Temple is in the Gujarat. South Indian art is temple architecture in the South India. So it is the Nagara school of architecture. Different sub-school emerge in the northern part of India. So the Pallava ruler is the Mahendravarman, and the temple developed during the Pallava dynasty. So four stages were there. Mahendravarman group is the rock cut temple architecture is Mahendravarman, and Mandapa Nagara style, in which the Mandapa means only assembly hall, but there is the temple known for the Mandapa also. Next is the Narsimha group. Narsimha group was the rock cut temple decorated in under the Narsimhan, and Mandapa were now divided into the Ratha, so called the Dharmaraja Ratha, and smallest one was Draupadi Ratha. Dharmaraja Ratha and Draupadi Ratha designed temple in the Dravidian style of architecture is the successor of Dharmaraja Ratha. So it's a Narsimha group of development of the temple architecture of South India. Now Rajsimha. First is Mahindra group, second Narsimha group. Narsimha group is the Ratha temple, and Mahindra group is rock cut architecture. Rajsimha group is the real structure of temple like Shore temple of Mahabalipuram and Kailashnath temple of Kanchipuram. So Mahabalipuram and Kanchipuram is the Rajsimha temple, that is the real structure of the temple, Rajsimha. And Nandi Varmana temple is in the Chola kingdom and Dravidian style, and Vesara style, Nayaka, Vijayanagara, all three styles were present. And this is the Dravidian style of temple of the Nandi Varmana temple. Now architecture of Mahabalipuram. So it's a Mahabalipuram here. It's Mahabalipuram is the Pallava sites, a group of monuments of Mahabalipuram. Ratha temple or Pancharatha, Dharma Rajaratha, Bhima Ratha, Arjun Ratha, Nakul Shahdev, and Draupadi Ratha. Rock cut cave was the Krishna cave, and Pancha Pandavara cave, Mahishasur Mardani cave, and open air rock relief were Ganga Arjuna Pinans of the Bhagirathi Pinans was there. Shore temple was the predominantly dedicated to Lord Shiva, and Ananta Shire Vishnu. So it's two small and large temple enclosed within the two tier. So Shore temple in the Shiva. Now Chola architecture, last one is the Chola architecture. We are going to describe the Chola architecture. It will be the last topic of today. Chola ruler is the hundred of temple were built South India. Feature was the Dravidian style, high boundary wall, Gopuram was present, gateway, Panchayatan style exactly. Now Dravidian style was the called the Vimana. So it's a pyramidal shape of temple. This is pyramids, and this is known as the Vimana. And crowning elements was there. There was a crowning elements also, and there was a kalasha at the crowning element, and but that is not represent in the Nagara temple. It's a only one Vimana, and the Dravidian top of the main temple subsidiary shrine do not have Vimana, unlike the Nagara architecture. But here is the Vimana also, and Gopuram also, high boundary walls also, and vestibular tunnel Antrala was represented in the Garbhagriha, and Dwarpala was Mithun and Yakshani. Water tank also present in North India. There was no water tank. Bradeshwar temple in the Tanjore. Rajaraja temple, Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple was important. Chola sculpture, if we are talking about, so Nataraj sculpture, that was the Ardhanarishwara Kundalini power of the Shiva is representing in that, and this is the Abhaya Mudra, signification of the benediction and reassuring the devotee. So lower left hand point towards the upraised foot and indicate the path of salvation. So Shiva is dancing on figure of the small dwarf. The dwarf symbolize the ignorance and ego of the individual. So the matter and flowing locks of the Shiva represent the river Ganga, and Shiva has a male earring while the other has a female. So this represent the fusion of male and female also. And there was a Abhay Mudra in the Nataraja sculpture. So Nataraja, surrounded by the nimbus of glowing lights, symbolize the vast cycle of time and death. So this was the all about the Nataraja temple, Nataraja architecture, sculpture. Sorry. Now Nayaka School of Architecture is the Madurai School of Architecture also, and it's a Prakasham or a huge corridor was in the Nayaka School, largest Gopuram, and reached to the climax in the Nayaka style. And Nayaka style was the intrinsic carving, like Meenakshi temple of Madurai is the famous for the Nayaka style. Vesara style is in the Karnataka. It's a mixture of the both Dravida and Nagara. hybridized style, emphasized vimana and mandapa and open ambulatory pathway, pillars, doorways, ceilings. And there was a Chalukya of Badami, Kalyani, Rashtrakuta and Hoysala dynasty, they Halibudu and Belur. And Rashtrakuta is the Ellore, Ra Kailashnath temple, and Chalukya and the Kalyani and Badami. So this was the famous temple, Doda Bassappa temple in Dambal, and Ladkha temple Ahol was the famous for the Badami. Curvilinear Shikhara square base of Vasara style. Vijayanagara School of the Art is in the Ganga and Yamuna, and near the Ganga, Yamuna, Krishna and Godavari. So they are the combined feature of the Chola, Hoysala, Pandya, Chalukyan architecture. So this is the Bijapur Indo-Islamic style, and this reflect the wall of temple highly decorative, carving geometric pattern. Gopuram was there, and monolithic rock pillar were there, and temple pillar have a mythical creature of Yali, and the enclosing wall of larger, more than a mandapa built in the east temple. So this concept was secular building was very famous in the Krishnadev Raya temple. So temple complex is enclosed by boundaries. So Vithala Swami temple, Lotus temple, Virupaksha temple, Raghunatha temple, rock-cut idol of Narsinghama and Hampi is very important. Hoysala School of Architecture is again in the Karnataka. It's a Belur, Halebeedu and Shangeri temple. Belur, Halebeedu and Shangeri temples are the feature. Multiple shrine of the center pillar hole. So there was a crucified ground plan of Panchayatana style, and this was known for the statelet plain soft soapstone and chariots and decoration of temple through sculptures, jewelry. All the chambers shikhara interconnected arrangement of horizontal line. Okay, and example of Hoysaleshwar is the Halabidu and Chena Keshwar temple, Belur. Somnathpura. Jagati is the appraised platform known as Jagati, which is 1 meter high. Pala Sena temple. Now next one is the Pala and the Sena, which is very important. It was in the Bengal region. So this was influenced by both religion. Okay, Hindu and both religion. So it was the Buddhist architecture. Architecture developed 12th century AD, and they was follower of Mahayana cult. And Pala was there was a Vihara, Chaityan Stupa. Pala universalized the Nalanda, Jagada, and Odantapuri, Vikramshila, Sompura, Mahavihara was in the monastery on the Bangladesh. So Dakshineshwari temple of Bangladesh, curved sloping roof, terracotta bricks and tall carving of shikhara, highly lustrous finish was the main famous features of the Pala. And Mughal architecture influence was also we can see Bangla roof. So there was the Siddheshwara temple, and temple around the Vishnupur was the famous. So this was all about today's mapping with some important thing we discussed. Now next will be next lecture. Hope you enjoyed. So this was today's lecture.